Welcome to the Leadership Unveiled, the podcast series that explores the minds and journeys of the pioneering leaders, entrepreneurs shaping up the business world. I am your host, Neha Jagnani, and today we are diving into an evolving world of human resources, leadership, workforce transformation, and the future of work. Joining us today is Shefali Rai. Shefali is the CHRO at InMobi and Glance, leading the global people strategy across the diverse portfolio of technology businesses. With nearly 2 decades of leadership experience, she is recognized for driving organizational transformation, building high performing cultures, and fostering people centric growth. Since joining InMobi in 2011, she has played a pivotal role in scaling Glance into a global AI led customer technology company. Recognized as an HR Trailblazer in 2024, Shefali is also known for championing agile, trust based workplaces and empowering organizations through strategic leadership and talent development. Shefali, thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Neha. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. I look forward to this exciting podcast, Shefali. So, to begin with, I want to know, based on your extensive experience in HR and people leadership, what are the biggest changes that you have witnessed, in the workplace and talent landscape over the years?
I think one of course, with all of the transformation that's happening right now, and the unprecedented AI transformation that I think every company is being exposed to and being a part of. I feel one of the biggest changes that has happened is, at least from a people lens for me, is I don't think people are anymore just the support system to a strategy. And I feel that's been the biggest change that has happened over the last, I would say 3 to 5 years, sort of a time frame. People have become core to the business strategy, right? And I feel that's been a fundamental shift, where the vision, the strategy, of course, is very, very important in boardroom discussions, but also what's becoming increasingly important is the importance of talent, the importance of leadership, and how people, teams, and people organizations across the world are actually playing a very important role in shaping the business strategy. So I think the shift from being, traditionally, people teams would also would be known for being the enablers and the almost like service providers. And I think the massive shift now is, it's becoming about being business architects. So I think on the work front that's happening, industries are getting reset. So I think with that, the expectation even from the employees or the workforce is changing. So traditionally, what people would look for is, yes, they would look for growth and they would look for stability. But I think now what the workforce is looking for is, they're looking for flexibility, they're looking for continuous growth, they're looking to be part of something where they can create impact. And I think what AI is really doing is really showing organizations that a lot of this human potential and the power of intelligence can be actually used to amplify human potential. So more and more, I think the people, and now I'll come back to the people, teams and the people organizations. I don't think it's about employee engagement and talent development alone. It is now a business function that's equally part of shaping the business strategy for organizations. So I feel I know you asked for one, but I think these are the 2 3 big shifts that I'm seeing happening.
Absolutely. Thank you for putting this together. So, from the people lens, you're saying that people are not just support system anymore. They are the business enabler. They have become the core. And
Yeah.
from enabler to the business architect is what is my biggest takeaway. And people, as you rightly said, are not just looking for growth. They are looking at flexibility and also the opportunity to create that impact within that ecosystem that they are in. So, thank you so
Yeah.
much for that. My next question, Shifali, is as AI continue to reshape the future of work, I want to know how can organizations leverage technology while ensuring they continue to build human-centric and purpose-driven workplaces?
Yeah, I've said this earlier as well. I think in one or two discussions where this topic came up. And I fundamentally believe that AI, what's AI going to do? AI is actually just changing how work is getting done. The work is not changing. So AI is not replacing work in the way it is being projected today. It's actually the way that work can be done is changing, right? That's what AI is helping enable a lot of organizations to. And I firmly believe that AI actually is going to remove the mediocrity from roles. A lot of what we're all used to, decades of working, traditional setups and just the way we have understood work for years and decades is you have to just keep doing a lot of things repeatedly. So what AI now does is it's removing that mediocrity, right? And when that mediocrity, so obviously AI is going to automate a lot of things for you. Now that opens up a whole different dimension of time, whole different dimension of bandwidth, and just so much more abundance for every individual to actually do a lot more. And I think organizations that are going to succeed will be the ones, not of course the ones who only use how to use AI tools. That I think now anyway is happening at scale. It is fundamentally our organizations thinking about how do you redesign your workflow, right? What part will be taken care of by AI, what part of the work is still going to be done by humans, and what are the systems we need to set up to ensure both of these things are happening. So, definitely not replacement. AI is not replacing. I think AI is just going to be amplifying human potentials. And I think the sooner organizations realize this, that it's not about replacing one against the other, but leveraging AI to build a culture of innovation, build a culture of creativity, build a culture of curiosity. That is, I think, going to be defining or determining success for a lot of us in the years to come.
Sure, sure. Very fundamental yet a very critical point you said you started with is that AI is not here to replace work. It is there to help you. It is there to make your job easy. So I think organizations
Yeah,
today will have an edge over their competitors or anybody if
yeah,
they know how to redesign the work. They should know the priorities, where AI can pitch in, where humans can pitch in, to in order to
yes,
create a
exactly.
culture and ensure that not just human centricity but creativity remains at the heart of the workplace.
I think the value is shifting. So the value driver earlier was, oh, we're going to own just execution elements, oh, we're going to own tasks. So I
Right.
think the value now has shifted to saying, okay, AI is going to commoditize all of this, it's going to automate all of this.
Yeah.
Value has now shifted to judgment, creativity, innovation, empathy. So I think those skills now become
Right.
very, very important, yes, for
Absolutely.
workforces across the board.
Well said, Shefali. My next question for you, Shefali, is in your view, what are some of the key leadership qualities required to build a high performing teams and foster a culture of trust, inclusion, and continuous learning?
Yeah, and I'll take the example of InMobi. We've actually also spoken about how the leadership philosophy is changing amidst this transformation of AI with AI, right? Traditional leadership roles are getting crunched. Earlier leadership was about, team management, delegating work, owning execution outcomes alone. All of that, like I mentioned earlier, you don't need humans to do that anymore. You have agents to do that. So I think the shift that's happening even at leadership, it's a pretty tectonic shift. It's how is now a leader able to, of course, change the mindset, his or her mindset, to become more AI forward, to embrace what's happening and really figure out how can he or she leverage the power of AI to amplify that human potential. And I think the skills that become very important, as you talk about this, is um, it when change is so unprecedented and it's at the scale that we're seeing, people are going to look up to their leaders for direction. So
Right.
the ability to actually create a sense of direction amid something that's so unprecedented becomes very, very important. Which is linked to the ability to also be highly comfortable in an environment of ambiguity, because we are in a, I think, in an era where we cannot predict anything, and that has become the reality. It's no longer an outlier. Every day is unpredictable, right? With everything that's happening, the technology, I think the technological acceleration is so rapid, it's impossible to predict anything. So the ability for a leader to give direction amidst this is going to be important. The ability of for a leader to um, bring a culture of going for the big things within their team, thinking big. How do they make their teams now think bigger? Because a lot of what would keep you occupied is being taken away, right, through an AI agent. So now what are you going to do with that time? So how do you now help them see the possibilities of what all can be done in this technological transformation that's happening? How do you unlock creativity? How do you unlock individuals in your team? So a lot more of their time being spent in actually unlocking the power of human capital, working very closely, capability building, ability for workforces and their teams to deal with an environment of ambiguity. So this is also what I call, I think we're moving from the traditional leadership roles to becoming entrepreneurial leaders, because the environment is highly, I think it's completely reset to become very entrepreneurial. So and I think these skills, along with the leader themselves being curious, because I don't think now there's a hierarchy to anything, right from a software development engineer all the way up to C-suite executives. Everyone has to stay abreast with what's happening and to be a continuous learner themselves. And when your team sees what you stand for, how you take decisions, and how are we going to make it happen, I think that's where true value of a leader comes out.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. Truly thought provoking. I'll just summarize for the audience's benefit. So, leadership quality is the ability to create direction in the time of uncertainty. The ability to be resilient and to be able to be comfortable in those times is very, very important, to hold your nerve because your team is looking up to you.
Yeah.
Last but not the least, bringing that culture of thinking big, even in uncertain times. So people are able to unlock their potential, still
Yeah.
be creative, and look at the bigger picture. So thank you so much for that, Shefali. Moving on to the next question, which is with organizations navigating rapid business transformation, what role do HR leaders play in driving organizational growth, innovation, and long term business success?
Like I said, I think it's the function of people and culture has shifted over the last few years. The role that HR leaders and HR organizations today, or the responsibility rather that they hold, I feel is uh, we are at a very interesting cusp right now, right? And that intersection of strategy, the intersection of talent, so strategy, talent, leadership, and culture, and execution. This is the intersection that we operate in, and I think it's a very very unique opportunity that HR leaders and organizations have today to not just be part of the direction of the company, but to actually actively shape the mindset that's going to make the strategy and the direction happen. Because, like at InMobi, we proactively are focusing on increasing talent density, because um, the I think the more exceptional talent that you're able to develop, that is going to be the moat. Because technology, see, earlier what was the differentiation? The differentiation earlier would be on technology. Technology is now accessible at scale. It would be on capital is available in abundance. So what really becomes your strategic advantage? It is going to be talent. So the ability for HR leaders to really build exceptional talent, really build exceptional leadership that's helming the vision and helping the strategy of the company, and creating a culture that's going to be accelerating a high performance organization. I feel this is truly what can be influenced and impacted to ensure you're building a winning organization. And I think the questions that are becoming very very relevant and pertinent, that these are active questions that we have at we ask ourselves here in the company is, Do we have that exceptional talent? Do we have that high quality leadership that's able to lead these teams? Are we preparing ourselves for what is needed couple of years down the line and not just for what we need today? Is our culture accelerating performance or is it slowing it down? Right. So these become, I would say, anchors to build, the culture that you were just asking me about.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. So, one word, talent is the key for organizations to succeed, not just in the
Yeah.
short term, but more importantly, to have that sustained success as an organization. Because
Yeah.
technology can be adopted, but the more you invest in your people, the more you try to build exceptional talent, that's always going to get you that edge over anything in uncertain times, especially. So, thank you
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much. Shefali, this brings us to the last question for this segment, which is what key lessons from your professional journey would you like to share to young HR professionals or aspiring leaders who
Yeah.
wish to make a meaningful impact in the world of work?
Lessons. Okay. I think two, three things. Basis again. This has also been my learning over the years and in my journey from being an individual contributor to becoming a people leader. Firstly, first and foremost, understand your business very, very deeply. You have to be able to understand, what are the value drivers for your business. If you do not, as a people team person or as an HR person, you do not know what creates value for your business, it's impossible to be able to create that value through the teams and people that you're going to be working with. So understand every aspect of the business that you're part of. It's not just left to the business leaders. I think it's equally our responsibility to drive that same narrative even as you're, working with teams. Two, build credibility, first. And that credibility, so for business and business leaders, that credibility is built when you solve real business problems with them. So it's not about, oh, how many, employee engagement programs I rolled out. Yes, that is part of your job, but did that really solve a business problem? So ask that question. Are you helping business leaders, your leaders, solve a real business problem that they're facing? Do they see you as that equal partner? So build credibility through that. Three, I would say, be the custodian of holding the bar high for the organization. And I know there is a tendency for, people teams to be the voice, also of the employee, which is absolutely right. But what is that balance? Because you as an HR leader or an HR professional are going to be responsible not just to create a culture of care in an environment or a system that you're part of, but it's also to create a culture of care with accountability. So holding the bar high, being the custodian for it, pushing the teams equally to say, are you giving this your best at all points? Is also, I think, an influencing role that we play. And the last one, this is universal. I think just be curious, be a learner. Things are changing very, very rapidly. Don't be left behind. Stay ahead in that learning curve.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. Great takeaways here, Shefali. Understanding the business, building credibility when you start solving real business problems becomes very, very important. Being the custodian of holding the bar high, I think I found it extremely interesting where you're saying that you take care, but care plus accountability is
Yeah.
very, very important in today's world. Last but not the least, being curious and keep upskilling and learning
Be,
to.
continue to be the learner. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So this brings us to the end of this segment, Shefali. Now we are going to switch gears and switch to this quick rapid fire round. This is just to get to know you a little bit better. I'll post some
Yeah.
questions and I would expect some rapid answers. So are you ready?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Fantastic. One leadership quality every future leader must have.
Comfort with ambiguity.
Okay. AI or emotional intelligence, which will define the future of work?
Both. Both. I don't think one can replace the other. It's the power of both coming together.
Sure. One workplace trend you believe is here to stay.
Uh, I think nonlinear growth. It's no longer about very set, fixed, corporate ladder. frameworks, nonlinear continuous growth based on impact that individuals are able to create.
Perfect. Hire for skills or hire for mindset?
Always mindset. Always mindset. Skills can be easily acquired.
Okay. One habit that has contributed the most to your success?
I'll repeat myself. I think my learnability. Um, that's something that has been a consistent throughout my journey, and always being open to feedback that I got from my mentors, from my leaders, uh, because it's always coming from a place of improving, and always being open and continue to. I think and that kind of pushed me to keep improving. So learnability, I would say,
Okay.
being open and adapting to whatever change was needed.
Sure, sure. What's one common misconception about HR that you would like to change?
That they don't understand business.
All right. If you could give your younger self one career advice in just 3 words, what would it be?
Okay, can I say four? It may not be three.
That's
I think that we trust your inner north, like trust your compass, trust the inner north.
okay. Okay. Beautiful. One book, podcast, or a leader that has significantly influenced your leadership journey.
It's actually an individual, and that happens to be Naveen Tiwari, who's the CEO of InMobi. He's also been my mentor, and of course, I work with him very, very closely. I think he's the one who actually taught me fearless leadership, what it is to be a fearless leader, and what it is to be a vision led leader. So I will always value that.
Fantastic. What's one quality you always look for while hiring future leaders?
I did speak about comfort with ambiguity, but apart from that, high levels of ownership,
Oh,
high levels of ownership, staying the course no matter what, and owning the outcome end to end. When I say outcome, impact towards making a winning organization and not just a task.
sure.
So, yeah.
Sure. Last one. Complete this sentence. The future of work is.
The future of work is anchored in human potential, accelerated by technology.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. It was quick, it was sharp. Thank you so much on behalf of HREI Shefali. I thank you for taking out time. I think your
Thank,
candid insights on human resources, AI-led transformation, people-centric workplaces has been truly inspiring, and it has been personally my pleasure to interact with you today. So thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. Thank you, Neha, and I loved answering all the questions. And yeah, looking forward to being part of more conversations with HREI. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shefali.
Thanks. Bye. Take care.
Yeah.